Dumbledore and Voldemort are widely regarded as the pinnacle of magical power, standing at the very top of the wizarding hierarchy. Their mastery of spells, dueling prowess, and profound understanding of magic set them apart from nearly all other witches and wizards in history. While still just a boy, Dumbledore performed magic that his professors had never seen before, and in adulthood, he cemented his place as the most powerful wizard of his time, mastering disciplines of magic that others could barely comprehend. Years later, Voldemort followed suit, displaying unnatural magical talent from a young age. Even before formal training, he could move objects, control animals, and manipulate the minds of others through sheer will. As an adult, Voldemort's magic became unmatched in both brutality and innovation. He pushed spellcraft to its limits and became the only known wizard to split his soul multiple times. It's fairly safe to say that these two were leaps and bounds ahead of their peers and entirely deserving of their reputations as two of the most powerful wizards in history. But what if I told you that another wizard, one just as powerful, if not more so, than both of these men, once walked the very same halls of Hogwarts that they did, but somehow doesn't get nearly the same recognition? Today we're going to be cracking this wide open and telling his story. Let's dive into it. Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. The magical powers of this individual didn't come through at the same time as most. In fact, while Voldemort and Dumbledore were excelling in their studies as children, this young man had yet to display any magical ability whatsoever. And while most young witches and wizards eagerly await their Hogwarts acceptance letter around their 11th birthday, this wizard received nothing at all. And for 4 long years, he questioned what had gone wrong. Where was his magic, and why didn't he receive an acceptance letter? But at the age of 15, something suddenly changed, and against all odds, his magic finally manifested, showing a unique ability to harness ancient magic. This rare occurrence baffled many within the wizarding community, as it was almost unheard of for someone to develop magical abilities so late in life. Professors and students alike speculated on what could have caused such an anomaly. And so eventually, despite being years behind his peers, the young wizard was accepted as a late transfer to Hogwarts, starting his journey into magical education 4 years later. Fortunately, upon embarking on his studies, the student quickly proved that his late-blooming magic was not a sign of weakness at all, but of something far more exceptional. And in order to get up to speed, the student endured a period of tutoring by Professor Elazar Fig, allowing him to catch up to other 5th years. But in hindsight, it would seem that all of these were formalities, as this young wizard was undoubtedly geared up for greatness. This student was no ordinary late bloomer. Conventionally, a late bloomer in the wizarding world is viewed by experts as a witch or wizard whose magic fails to develop, in any capacity, by the age of 7. It's a very unusual and rare occurrence within wizard kind, but some believe that there may be a correlation between late-blooming magical ability and the capacity to wield ancient magic. And in the case of this young wizard, that was true, and it also happened to be what made him so exceptional. Ancient magic is magic which happens independently of efforts by wizards, an effect which is triggered by events and powers endemic to the nature of reality. It is extremely old and mysterious, and a wand is not necessary for it to work. It's part of the magicalness of the universe. Ancient magic is different from modern magic in several ways. First, it requires a deeper understanding of the nature of magic itself, and often involves more complex incantations, wand movements, and other magical gestures. Second, ancient magic is often tied to ancient artifacts or locations, and requires a certain level of knowledge or expertise to access. It's also worth noting that ancient magic appeared in traces or whispers to those with the ability to harness it. Over the course of history, few individuals have truly possessed the ability to wield ancient magic, and its mastery is widely appreciated as a sign of a particularly powerful witch or wizard. What's even more interesting about ancient magic is that all known modern practitioners of ancient magic discovered that they were capable of wielding it upon starting their education at Hogwarts in their 5th year. And so, from the moment he set foot in Hogwarts, strange occurrences seemed to follow him. His ability to perceive and manipulate ancient magic, an incredibly rare and poorly understood force, set him apart from even the most talented of his peers. but it was also something that he couldn't yet understand. As he delved deeper into his studies, the young wizard uncovered even secrets hidden within the very foundations of the wizarding world, secrets that had remained buried for centuries. And so, guided by Professor Fig and driven by an insatiable curiosity, he began to unlock the mysteries of this forgotten power. If you haven't figured it out already, I am of course talking about the protagonist of Hogwarts Legacy. Now, I expect that some of you may argue that this character doesn't count. You'd say that he isn't part of established Harry Potter canon, his story is a complete retcon, and he was created purely for the game's narrative. And to some extent, you'd be right. The Hogwarts Legacy protagonist was introduced decades after the original books and films, and J.K. Rowling had nearly no involvement in his creation. But we also have to remember that a significant amount of Harry Potter content has been released since the original books, much of which is considered canon despite being created after the fact. That includes the Fantastic Beasts films, the Cursed Child play, the movies, and a bunch of Harry Potter games. Cursed Child is a great example of something that was endorsed by Rowling and technically is canon, but just doesn't meld right with the rest of the story. And I'd wager that for those of you who have played Hogwarts Legacy, you'd agree that this game does meld with the story. It feels more Harry Potter-y than basically everything other than the original books and films. The game developers were also very careful in ensuring that the game didn't contradict other canonical elements. If you want an even better breakdown of this, check out my video, Is Hogwarts Legacy Canon? So yeah, in my opinion, the protagonist from Hogwarts Legacy did exist, and he was potentially even more powerful than Dumbledore or Voldemort. Hear me out. When we consider the powers of Voldemort and Dumbledore, we are recognizing their magical prowess in the conventional, modern sense. Both of them dominated in their era, and pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible. But ultimately, they still operated within the established limits of modern wizardry. The Hogwarts Legacy protagonist, however, practiced something entirely different. His abilities weren't simply a refinement of existing magical disciplines, they were an echo of something far older, something largely forgotten by the wizarding world. While Dumbledore and Voldemort were masters of learned magic, this individual had a direct connection to ancient magic itself, a primordial force that existed long before wands, spell incantations, and the structured magic taught at Hogwarts. He wielded a raw, instinctive power that allowed him to manipulate magic in ways that defied conventional understanding. The few examples of ancient magic in the Harry Potter story, Lily's sacrifice, Molly killing Bellatrix, shows us that ancient magic, even when wielded by individuals far less powerful than Dumbledore and Voldemort, is substantially more powerful than the conventional spellwork of the modern era. If you need further convincing, let's take a quick look, in point form, at what a 15-year-old who only just manifested his magical capabilities was able to accomplish. Troll Conqueror. Trolls are some of the most physically dangerous creatures in the wizarding world. They're highly resistant to magic, and even a single one could take out multiple fully grown wizards. Yet, the Hogwarts Legacy protagonist was able to take down multiple trolls effortlessly within days of arriving at Hogwarts. Multiple enemies. Rather than dueling just one dark wizard at a time, the protagonist is able to wipe out entire camps filled with skilled enemies who have years, if not decades, of experience. This includes entire camps of dark wizards, goblins, trolls, and more. Kills a goblin warlord at 15. Goblins are notoriously tricky to duel and possess their own brand of powerful magic and a deep understanding of enchanted weaponry. With that said, the Hogwarts Legacy protagonist, with just a few months of magical training, was able to take down Ranrock, one of the most formidable goblin warlords in history. Unforgivable curses. Even fully trained adult wizards hesitate when it comes to using unforgivable curses. Not only does it take immense magical power to perform them, but these spells require an extreme level of intent, something most students wouldn't even have the mental fortitude to handle. But for the Hogwarts Legacy protagonist, they're nothing. Kills Victor Rookwood. Victor Rookwood was an extremely powerful and seasoned dark wizard, not just a random adversary. And yet, by the end of his first year at Hogwarts, the protagonist takes him down single-handedly. And finally, Ancient Magic. The Hogwarts Legacy protagonist tapped into a powerful force with seemingly limitless offensive capabilities, a rare gift few in recorded history possessed. Among the many abilities tied to this magic, perhaps the most impressive is the power to disintegrate enemies, vanishing them into a cloud of dust and erasing them from existence entirely. Compared to this, even Avada Kedavra seems tame. Sure, aside from ancient magic, Voldemort and Dumbledore could have probably done any of these things. But when you consider that this was the protagonist's very first year wielding magic, his accomplishments become even more impressive. We have to remember that unlike Voldemort, who spent years honing his dark arts mastery, or Dumbledore, who was a prodigy from a young age, this student had no prior magical experience before the age of 15, yet within months, he was able to achieve all that he did. What's more, his connection to ancient magic suggests that his power wasn't just a matter of talent or study. It was something innate, something that allowed him to surpass the limits of traditional magic almost immediately. If he did all that he did in just his first year, I can barely imagine what he would have become with decades or even centuries of training. And that's it for this video. What do you think? Do Dumbledore and Voldemort still claim the title, or do we have to give the Hogwarts Legacy protagonist some credit? Let me know down in the comment section below. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live.